What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Passive Tree Podcast. Podcast dedicated to talk about life, Path of Exile 2, and everything in between. Tonight on episode 35, I'm joined by a fellow PoE 2 creator, streamer, and podcast host. He's none other than Talkative Try. Welcome on, and how are you doing tonight, sir?
Blaze, thank you for the invite. I am doing so well. As we just said in the pre-pod talk, my daughter has now slept 2 nights through the night successfully. It has changed my life. I have so much more energy. I feel like a new man, and I'm ready to yap.
Let's do it, man. I'm so excited for you. That's amazing. So let's start off with a little bit of a sentimental note. So I had you first on this podcast. I think it was almost 8 months ago. I had just under 200 subs to my name at the time. And since then, your interview actually opened a lot of doors for me. So right out the gate, I just want to say props to you and thank you for, just being an amazing person and helping me sort of open my door to the PoE space.
100%, man. I love that you were very persistent in chatting with me in that first time, and I'm glad that I responded in the comments and then in Discord. We got that set up, and we've got you connected to so many other folks in the PoE community because there are a lot of awesome people, as you now know very well, and it's great that they're chatting with you, and it's great that you're doing podcasts not only about PoE, as I'm sure we're going to talk about, but about their lives. It's so fascinating to learn about all these, popular niche creators, and particularly, I really like their early gaming experiences. You've done something in a niche that's also niche, and it's freaking awesome.
Thank you, man. It means so much to hear from you, dude. Like, that part of the podcast has been something that I thought about initially, even back when we did our first episode like 8 months ago, because there was just so much of not the same conversation happening, but I like learning about people behind the content. I think that that's such a key part of this show, and it's been received so well by the community. People love sort of learning more about insights about other people's lives and people's content. It has had some feedback negatively as well. Some people are like, this podcast is half fluff and half amazing. Cut the fluff, man. And I'm like, no, this is the way I like it. So I'm glad that you guys have all been enjoying the podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. You touch on something really important there. There can be a lot of repetition if you're just talking about Path of Exile 2, which is the game that we both play a lot of, or just Path of Exile 1, Path of Exile 2. And I do feel that, doing my podcast, right? Especially if I do a huge slate and there's a dominant community view of the patch, like I feel like there has been with 0.4, it can get a little repetitious. So your podcast, I even started, honestly, inspired by you, I started weaving in a few more personal questions near the end of my pod. I was like, Blazes is really entertaining. I freaking love Blazes. Hey, I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to put it in mine, see how it goes. And it's it's a great part of the pod. I just don't do it as much, but I don't want to steal your niche. So I'm doing it a little bit, not a lot.
Yeah, I saw that with Prada's pod. Had to compliment you on that. I mean, to be honest with you, bro, like, when you did the pod with DM and you guys went on that tangent for like an hour about fast food, that was probably my favorite episode of the Still Sane podcast. Had nothing to do with PoE 2. It was just two dudes just chatting about fast food and like, passions were high. So yeah, it's nice to, mix in a few things here and there for sure.
100%. Definitely.
Okay, so just as a follow-up question about the podcast stuff. So I've had the opportunity since our podcast to, as you mentioned, interview quite a few creators, large and small. Have you learned about any new creators from these episodes?
Oh, yeah. Major Aimless, Young Wadak, several others. And then I've interviewed Major. Like that was one that was very entertaining. Young Wadak, I think, is probably my favorite one, just because you guys... Recently, I actually listened to that podcast, the first one you did with him, and then you did a second one that you did because I had to cancel last minute. And both those were excellent. And in the first one, you guys talked about something that was just like so fascinating. It was kind of like juggling life and content. And especially in the past few weeks, that really, really spoke to me. So yeah, I think Young Wydock is the biggest one, and he's making banger videos. So thanks for introducing me to him. He rocks.
He does rock. He's cooking up some great stuff. He just dropped an awesome new video not too long ago that definitely spoke to my heart as an HCSSF enjoyer for sure. So I'm glad to hear that you've been like, enjoying the episodes, learning about new creators that have inspired you as well. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of get your general sort of vibe about the second Win League. So started off last Friday. Congratulations, by the way. From what I understand, it's the biggest PoE private league ever. So yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations. And how has it been?
Thank you. It's been a whirlwind, and it is the biggest private league of all time. The second largest was Pox's private league and Settlers of Kalgur. That was for Path of Exile 1. This one, we thought it was going to be a couple thousand players. Obviously, it became titanic. We're pulling strings behind the scenes. I'm prodding GGG like, hey, more slots, more slots, more slots. And we have a 60,000 player maximum right now. I don't think we're going to hit that at this point. We have funded over 50,000 slots, and that was full at one point. Some people are like dropped from the league and everything, but it's been an absolute blast. It's exactly what we pitched it. It's SSF light. All right. So there's 50K people in there, but there are like almost 1 million on the main PoE servers. So it's trade, but there aren't as plentiful as resources. There are some things that aren't even listed on the trade site. The economy can fluctuate like that. I was watching some omens go from like 5x to 50x in the span of an hour, and I was like, no, what is going on? It's crazy. And I love being a part of it. I've never played a private league before in Path of Exile 1 or PoE 2, and it's a very different vibe than just a normal league. And I think it's cool to reset mid-league and just have that little bit of fun if you're really enjoying the patch, which I am. I don't think I would have done this in Dawn of the Hunt. I may have done it in 0.3. I didn't, but in this one especially, I had a legit second wind, and I really enjoyed the patch. So it was the perfect patch to launch something like this, and it's just been unreal. The support has been crazy from the community and from GGG, honestly.
It is the perfect name too. I don't know if it was like a collaborative effort by you and all the other boys, but like whoever came up with that name, you deserve a medal because yeah, it was like such a bang on name for sure.
It's Guitarholic. Shout out to him. He is a behind the scenes dude in Path of Exile. He created the Discord. He pings all the creators and tells them, hey, you should say this on stream. Hey, you should talk about this on stream. Hey, you should reach out to these creators. He is the mastermind behind Second Wind. He's also helped out a lot in the BPL for PoE 1, which is, I think it's the Badgers private league. And he's just giving good advice all around for a lot of the PoE creators that I talk with a lot, like Local Hole. So shout out to him. He came up with the name.
Okay, Guitaraholic, you are awesome. It sounds like you're a pretty amazing part of the community. I've obviously seen him in my streams and your streams as well, and he's been a pleasure to always interact with. So we talked a little bit about why the second Win League was so popular, but I was wondering if you could maybe elaborate as to sort of like what were these contributing factors that made it like maybe the biggest private league ever, basically. What led to that?
Yeah. So anybody who's been playing Path of Exile 2 recently, especially the first few weeks of 0.4, knows that the temple was initially thought to be goated mechanic. People got out of the campaign. They're like, dog mechanic. This is the worst thing ever. It's not useful. And then right as people were figuring it out, and realizing, oh my gosh, you can juice unlike ever before. We're dropping divines, we're dropping mirrors, we're dropping a headhunter, a temple. GGG also released a hotfix that buffed the temple even more, like the same day. So it became one of the most lucrative mechanics of all time. And people were like, okay, well, you got to build the temple first. How can you build a temple really, really fast? And then we found the Holton strategy exploit. Honestly, at this point, guys, my mind has been changed. Grinding Gear Games banned no one for it. It's not an exploit. It's a strategy. They may have patched it, but they didn't ban. So I have changed my mind. I was like, exploit, exploit, exploit. But now I call it just a strategy. They used the Holton strategy to build temples really fast. They shared crystals, and there was some sharing going on. They built a really fast temple, and this caused the economy to explode for the people who use this because they made their Giga Juice temples really fast. Divines went through the roof. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, inflation is crazy. They're freaking out. People are quitting. I think there's a little bit of a perception as reality going on there. I did release a video on this saying, hey, divines, exalts, chaos. Oh, man. Don't try to farm those. Instead, Go for Abyss. Go for the Omens. Look how much the Omens are going for. Hey, go do Breach Splinters, and I'm showing my idiocy. What are the special things?
Catalysts.
The what? The what?
Catalysts.
The Catalyst. Yeah, the Catalyst. I'm so bad. Look at that. I still attach Catalyst, actually, in my mind, to Metamorph, and then to Ultimatum from PoE 1, and now they're freaking Breach in PoE 2. Oh my gosh. So the Catalyst, and then farm Expedition logbooks for the Runic Splinters. You can get like a couple Divines a logbook. There's all these other strategies, but a lot of people perceived economy's cooked. I'm going to quit. So they quit, but then Localhole had the brilliant idea of, okay, you know what? Economy's cooked. People think the economy's cooked. It's basically cooked. Let's make a new private league. Get a couple thousand people in there. We'll have a really chill vibe. You know, the Holton mechanic is disabled and the temple has been changed. It'll be kind of like a refresh with what GGG intended the league to be. And it blew up. Absolutely blew up. You got freaking starting with 2,000 people the first day. Then we bounce up to 5K. I make a video on it. We're at like 15K. I make another video. Localhole releases that banger trailer. Very sultry voice from Localhole. We hit like 40,000 by launch of it. And I just, we're talking with GGG. I'm sending a message just like, guys, we need to increase the slots. They're like, there's no way. Slots? No, we can't do any more. 40K is max. And then we overcap by 7,500. And we're almost at 50,000 with 7,500 people on the wait list. And I wake up and I see a message from GGG. They're like, yeah, we up the slots. And it's been crazy. So, and some people have realized that maybe this is a little harder than main league because of the scarcity, because there's less people, and they've bounced back. But a lot of people have appreciated the community vibes of Second Wind. Bustling Discord, almost 10K members, literally 2 weeks old, right? The global chat popping off, people sharing items, people selling items for super cheap. It's just been great vibes all around. Realized that was the longest answer of all time. But like I said, dude, I have so much energy right now. It's kind of crazy. No caffeine, no energy drinks, just a full night's sleep 2 days in a row. Let's go.
Dude, you broke that down perfectly. The play-by-play there was unreal. I think we have the entire chronological timeline now. Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that the 0.4 patch has been a little bit of a whirlwind, a lot of back and forth. And, I think it is absolutely the perfect time or the perfect patch to drop a private league because there was this desire to play the game. And the new economic reset starting fresh, I feel like it just incentivized people who may have even quit the game to come back in because, as you mentioned, a lot of people were sort of under this impression that like, oh, I'm so far behind now. The temple is out of control, and so, yeah, like I think that if anyone was going to drop a banger private league during any league, it would have to be this one for sure. And it sounds like it's been an excellent experience for a lot of people, for sure.
I don't think this will be replicated ever. Unless, PoE, when PoE 2 goes free to play, it becomes like a 1 million player a league game where which is possible, right? I'm talking about it like on Steam, like 1 million players on Steam. Maybe it'll happen again, like if it blows up that much in popularity. But I think this was lightning in a bottle. I really don't think this will occur anytime soon, especially from people. I think Localhole has hosted a few private leagues before, but all of us were very green on this. Like I've never done private league, so the approval process was confusing. Like when I first co-hosted the league, I like messed up my accept invite to the league and I was screwing everything up and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And also the system from Grinding Your Games, I was going to say it's archaic, but that's not fair. They never expected to have this many people sign up for a private league. They expected, a couple hundred. It's so convoluted and it's so messy. So, just in case private leagues become a big thing, we have a long list of feedback for PoE in this regard that we're going to send right to GGG. So,
oh, that's amazing. I feel like, I guess, to my knowledge, being that this is the biggest like private league ever, like it was kind of like a stress test that hadn't happened in a long time or ever happened before. So that is a beautiful silver lining about all this, is that not only did this happen, but now you can actually provide like valuable feedback for GGG to be like, yo, these are some things that we could improve private league wise. And moving forward, when they do season 2 of Second Wind and season 3 and stuff like that, you might be working with some, QOL on those sides of things as well.
Yeah, third wind, fourth wind, fifth wind, sixth wind, you know?
It's got
We'll
to be
see
a
which
reoccurring thing
sticks.
now, man. Absolutely.
I think so. That's the plan. So we'll see what we do for 0.5. Probably later in the league, though. So we'll see.
Yeah. So speaking of whirlwinds and things going 180 degrees, you noted in one of your early videos that 0.4 burnt you out faster than any league ever had before. It was labeled an overall L from yourself. But then after taking a break, you came back and you ended up enjoying 0.4 more than any other league. So quite the sort of 180-degree shift. Love to hear that, by the way, because I'm also having a ton of fun in this league. I've been playing it like nonstop, as you know. Are you able to
Yeah.
walk us through sort of what initially happened, maybe summary, and then how that all kind of got turned around for you?
Yeah, 100%. So I think later in the pod, we're going to talk a little bit about the non-PoE 2 stuff. So I'll talk solely about the game stuff here because a little bit of a spoiler for a little later. I think there were a lot of out-of-game factors that were contributing to that burnout, but we're only going to talk about the PoE 2 stuff here. So
Sure.
PoE 2 League starts. Very excited for Druid. Very excited for the Val Temple. I was, cloud nine essentially. Start it, play it a lot. I don't die. I'm like blasting through. I finished the campaign so easily in like, I think 10 hours. I got through the campaign. Very strong build on my Shaman Bear. I feel like a lot of the Druid skill builds are kind of, the basic ones are kind of almost pre-made for you. So for someone like myself who I don't tinker a ton in like POB or anything, just having all the pieces in front of me, I can make a banger build. And I was destroying stuff. I'm blowing stuff up. I'm not, deleting things in a couple seconds, but like endgame bosses, but the campaign bosses, they lasted no time, right? Got a few good drops on my talisman in early game and it carried me through the campaign. I hit endgame and I'm experimenting a lot, okay, as well with my build. I hit endgame, okay? And I'm doing maps, map after map, and I'm not getting the one big thing that I'll point out. I'm not getting any support gems. I'm getting like greater jeweler's orbs. I'm getting support gem or not getting support gems, and I'm like, I got empty sockets, and I have these support gems that I picked that don't actually work for my skills, and I'm thinking, oh, this is so frustrating. Like I could go buy them on trade, but I'm sure the next map is going to drop a support gem. And in addition to that, I wasn't getting any new gear upgrades. I'm checking the shop every single time and I'm not getting any drops on the ground and everything. I'm like, okay, I have 7 exalted orbs from the temple, from the campaign. I could go spend that on trade too. And then I go to the Val Temple, and the Val Temple in Endgame, as we talked about briefly earlier, it's trash. It's not, it's in that middle point, right? Where campaign, it was goated. I had max quality talisman, max quality body armor. I was getting exalts, regals, artificer's orbs, and all that. Great for the campaign. And then at the end game, when you juice the temple, it's dropping mad currency, right? I'm in that middle point and I'm not getting anything from the temple. I'm going in, I'm clearing every room, I'm going slow, right? And I'm trying to understand how it works. And I'm not that smart when it comes to these sort of mechanics. So I'm like not getting anything from the temple. And I don't understand how the tiles click together. And it's very frustrating to me. And I'm like, okay, well, Val Temple's not working. League mechanic is usually the catch-up mechanism. In this league, it's not. I'm not getting any drops from the core game. I could just go trade, but I don't want to trade. I don't want to trade. I want to do it myself. And I crashed out. I essentially just crashed out. And I was like, I can't get anything done myself. This is stupid. I'm upset. I should be able to progress myself. Usually I try to push as far as possible without trading. Usually that's T15 Waystones in PoE 2. Usually that's T16 maps in Path of Exile 1. And I couldn't do it. And I was frustrated and I was dying and I didn't want to use trade. And I was the crybaby, whiny dude. And I waited a few days. So I stopped streaming. I stopped playing. That Sunday, the third day of the league, I just stopped playing. I didn't play for 9 days after that, okay? I waited 3 days mulling over all my thoughts, everything, with the league, with the stuff we're going to talk about later. And then I decided, you know what? People are like, where the heck are you? Drops are on, right? You're like, you didn't go live for your Dead Rabbit podcast. You did it in private. You recorded it in Discord. What the heck is going on, dude? I was getting messages. I was like, you know what? I make videos talking about how excited I am for the game. I make videos about news for the game. I make podcasts. If I'm pissed right now, screw it. I'm going to make a video. I spent Monday, and Tuesday, like writing a script. And I couldn't get it right. I was like, this almost sounds like I'm trying to like soften the blow. What am I doing? I don't need to soften the blow. I'm just going to press record. So I just went on, I sat on the computer, I clicked on my camera, and I was like, we're doing it raw. And I got on and I did complete raw, no script, just went in game, went off at the mouth about all the in-game things that were frustrating me because I didn't want to blame it on the out-of-game stuff because I really do try to keep that off the channel. But we'll talk about that later. I think that had a greater impact than I thought. Okay, so that's the crash out, all right? 9-day break, okay? 9-day break. I have a podcast with Dead Rabbit. I have a podcast with Connor Converse, One Man Left. Both went really great. And then I had a podcast with Jazzarus, okay? And after the I don't know what happened. Something stirred with me. And I also talked to my dad. Everybody knows my dad is a giga trade gamer. He's a FUB gooner, big FUB gun enjoyer. And I talked with him too, and he's like, dude, just trade. What are you doing? Like, you were so excited for this. Why don't you just trade? Stop making yourself suffer. Talk to my wife, and I'm like, this is so dumb. I'm getting so upset over this video game, and I was so excited, blah, 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 whatever. So after the Jazzarus pod, I decided to log on. Lunch. I work remote. So I was like, lunch. I usually don't take my lunch. I took my lunch. I sat down, guys. I had my couple Exalted Orbs. And I literally fully outfitted my character in support gems. I bought a talisman that was 3x the damage of my current talisman, the one that, I thought was really good, right? Instantly maxed out my resistances, bought better flasks, got all my charm slots, gained so much power. And then I started playing, and the rest is history. I just started having a blast. I gave in. I used trade, even though it was earlier in my progression than I like to, because I like the feeling of doing something myself. But I gave in, used trade, had an absolute blast ever since. And I've been like doing new stuff this league too. Like my brother is flipping currencies, and he's teaching me how to do that, and my other friend Andrew is teaching me how to spot like really good items, like 2-3 mod items, kind of like what Prada was talking about. My friend is like selling freaking white bases for like 20, 25 divine orbs. No, not white bases, magic bases for 20, 25 divine orbs. And I'm like, what is good? You guys are mystical. So I'm actually like learning a lot more of this league too. So this has become my most played league already. And we are a month and a week in. And like, I'm not even close to quit. I'm going to play the hardcore Timmy League. I'm going to try it out. And I might make another character. Like, I'm having a freaking blast. And I thought I was not going to play PoE 2 until 0.5. I kid you not. All right? All right, that's the rundown. There we go.
Oh my God. Yeah. So when I saw that initial first video and I watched it, obviously, and I was very like astonished because up to that point, I was like, Try is going to be obsessed with this patch because it's the Druid. We've been talking about the Druid for months and months and months and months. And so like a week after we've been playing with these new toys, I see this video on your channel saying like, I'm disappointed or something like that. And I was like, ain't no way this man's disappointed with the Druid. And obviously it wasn't the Druid. There was contributing factors. But yeah, so I thought it was very funny, that reaction. Definitely not to expected at all. But dude, it makes me so happy to hear that like you obviously were talking a lot of PoE 2 in your like time away from the game. So I feel like that probably like inspired you to get back into the game because you're like, I'm still talking about it with all these awesome people. Why don't I just like give it another chance? And so I'm happy you did, man.
That's so huge too, because I know I get like, I don't know why I get like crap for this, but I introduced the game to a lot of people in my personal life because I'm very talkative, guys. I'm very talkative in my personal life too. My dad, my brother, they've been on the channel, right? My friends. I also tried to get them to play PoE 1. And I tried to do this years ago. None of them wanted to play. Dang it. I still played thousands of hours. But this now, like if I quit, they're all in Discord, hanging out. We're at like family function. Like we were at Thanksgiving when the Atziri Booba trailer dropped. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys. Fade of the Val, Atziri, we're going to see her commune with the beast. Jazzarus was right. So here's what happened, all right? So there was this beast, okay? Right? Literally at Thanksgiving, like we're talking about this. So it does make it a lot harder. It made it a lot easier to get right back into it because I'm like surrounded by people talking about it. And who knows, maybe if I would have booted up Baldur's Gate 3 that night instead of logging back onto PoE 2 during lunch, I wouldn't have logged back in. But I logged back in, I played a map, I was like, man, this feels good. And I just kept going. And that's that. So, yeah.
What a journey. What a journey. This whole league has been a journey, man. Excited to be on this journey with you. And I'm super stoked that you got back into the game and have just found this like new love and passion for it. Personally, I do feel like this is I think it's chalking up to be my favorite league as well. Like it's weird because as you mentioned, like there have been a lot of swings, especially with the temple. But now that it's sort of in a like serviceable spot, like I'm just loving the way the game feels right now, the way the game plays, and I'm very excited for like the future of it.
No,
Speaking of the
Blaze.
future
No.
of the game,
No.
wait,
No,
what?
don't be excited, dude. So here's the thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but man,
No, you're good.
I'm telling my wife, I'm telling my friends, I'm like, if I'm staying up till 2 a.m. playing this jank ass end game, and they're supposed to make a huge, amazing end game for 0.5, what is gonna happen, dude? Like, I don't even know. Like, I can't pull 5 a.m. nights. I have a job, I have a family. Like, if I am already being retained this hard, I'm kind of scared, Blaze. I'm kind of scared for the future of PoE 2 because it's gonna hurt my sleep schedule.
I know, dude. I've been saying that since 0.1. Like, we've been playing since the game came out. I can't believe it's already been a year. Time has flown by. I guess time flies when you're having a lot of fun playing PoE 2. And yeah, like even since 0.1, I was saying to myself, like, dude, if I can get this much enjoyment out of an early access game that has barely been complete, like it's 1/10 complete of its full potential, basically, the way to look at it, I can't even process how much fun I'm going to be having down the road. So, but yeah, man, like every like little step forward, and I think that 0.4, despite it having its hiccups and issues, like has been definitely a step forward in my perspective.
Ditto.
But yeah, dude, I gotta ask you about the interview. So speaking about moving forward, you move forward with your 6th interview with Jonathan Rogers before the launch of 0.4 for a massive interview. And from one interviewer to another, I just wanted to see if you could elaborate on sort of your process about how you prepare for such a big undertaking.
Yeah, 100%. So I think I've done the same thing for every single interview with Grinding Gear Games that I've been able to prepare for. So obviously I went out to those events in LA and they were sporadic. They were like, oh, you're going to get to interview Jonathan because they don't pull names out of a hat, but you don't know beforehand that you're going to get to talk to him. So those were literally like, all right, I just played the game. Time to go talk to Jonathan. You get 30 minutes, okay? The other ones, I put a ton of effort into. I base my style on Zizarin, on my prep style. So usually what I always saw him do was like lay out stuff in a spreadsheet. You have your category of question, you have your actual question, then you have notes, how you think they'll respond to it, follow-ups you have prepared, and then you order your questions in a way that you think will naturally flow the conversation, right? Have it all in front of you. So I do a lot of prep beforehand based on that. I put for all my interviews that I prepped for beforehand, 80% of the questions, maybe higher in a few, from the community. Poll my community on Discord, go to Reddit, say, hey, the threads are there, like, and I say, hey, gonna interview Jonathan, highest upvoted questions, I'll add to the interview. Anything, go for anything, right? Also, we'll do it like on YouTube. Like I just basically poll the community. I do have my finger on the pulse for what the community wants to hear about. So, a few of those like obvious ones, like why no end game? What's going on? Are we going to get any end game like I did for this particular patch? I'll ask those. But yeah, I really try to pull the community and I really try to take myself out of it because I think what I'm interested in is not what the community might particularly be interested in. Like a lot of the questions that I'm interested in, the community will see as kind of fluffy, right? Like I am fascinated by the game development process, the thought process behind Jonathan, Mark, everybody else at GGG, because that's what I wanted to do when I was younger. Obviously a lot of us who play video games when we were younger, we want to be game designers. That's why I had a computer science degree, because I wanted to become a coder and hopefully transition from coding to game design one day. That didn't work out, obviously. So it's the next best thing is being able to interview some of the guys that are making one of your favorite games, right? But I don't want to put my questions in there because nobody watching that interview a week before the patch is interested in that really, right? They're interested in, design goals for the current expansion, how this is going to work, how that is going to work, why this balance thing wasn't addressed, why this balance thing was changed in this particular way, right? They're interested in all that sort of stuff. So I try to focus on getting a variety of things from the community. And for this particular interview, I think it's unfortunate, honestly. I was the only person that was interviewing GGG. I didn't know that, which puts a lot more pressure on you, because if that's the case, if there's not, there used to be like every patch, 5, 6 different streamers who were going to interview Jonathan or Mark, and they would all have very varying perspectives. Some of them would be more generic, but like Gazzy, right? He would focus on minions. He'd ask a lot of minion questions, right? Because he was really excited about that. Ziggy D will focus on the headline features, right? That was just revealed in all those post Q&A things in the presentation, right? Well, I was the only interviewer besides Ziggy D, so it was like kind of my response to try to get all the questions from the community. And I did the same thing as always. I said, highest upvoted stuff, the stuff that obviously people are all asking about, those are the things I'm going to ask. I don't care what they are. They can be uncomfortable, they can be difficult questions, whatever. I'll ask them all. And I did. But the reception to the interview was very interesting from my perspective. But I don't know if we're going to dive into that yet, but that's basically my prep process. A lot of prep. Probably like 10, 11 hours of prep for each interview personally, because I really don't want to mess it up. So many things I could have done better in that particular interview too. I don't like making excuses. I was sick. I did have like 101-degree fever. That sucked. But also, like, I kept looking to the side of my screen to look at my questions instead of like looking at the camera, looking at Jonathan. That might make him a little uncomfortable. I didn't ask follow-ups to some pretty freaking obvious questions because I was worried. I had like 50 some questions and I wanted to get through all of them. And you're on a timetable there. I always want to make sure that I'm respectful of Jonathan's time. Like, I don't like going over. If it's a 30-minute interview, it's a 30-minute interview. If it's an hour, it's an hour. If it was 2 hours, which that one was, max is 2 hours. And I was worried I wasn't going to get through all the questions. So there were like some, I think, natural follow-ups that I did think of in the moment. But I was like, hey, I'm just going to move on to the next one. And I shouldn't have done that. And I think that's one of the big things that I need to get better at. And I think some people see that as like pushback questions, like the follow-ups. And I think that is something that I can improve to a great degree on, especially from that interview. I think in prior interviews, I did a better job of asking those like obvious pushback follow-up questions, but that one I didn't. So if I get the opportunity in the future, it's definitely what I do. I want to let the answer linger. I want to think, and then I want to follow up. I don't want to just move on to the next question because, oh, there's a timetable, or, oh, there's dead air, right? I think it's fine. I think like chatting with Jonathan, I should be comfortable enough at this point to like let it sit for a moment and then think and be like, okay, well, you're like the most obvious one, I think, and I hit myself over it, was the warrior archetype question, where I was like, warriors have a lot against them. You wear armor, it slows your movement speed, it's a hidden penalty. There's so many drawbacks on the tree, right? There's the base attack time. And Jonathan, his response essentially was, this is the fantasy we want. So it's in the game. And I just moved on. And I could have been like, this is one of the most problematic issues for such a huge part of the player. But some people do enjoy that. But lots of people, it causes them to not want to touch warrior. Are you okay with having all these hidden penalties for an archetype? Or is that something you should be more open about or open to changing? Like, that's what the thing I should have said, but I didn't. That's something that I think I can improve on for future interviews. Long answer.
Man, interviewing is an art form, and you've been doing it a lot longer than I have. And so it's a tricky thing to guide a conversation, ask a bunch of questions, try to structure the conversation appropriately. You're also worried about time. You're also like being watched by, in your case, thousands of people in front of during your interview. You obviously know this, but like every single person on stream is watching you as well. Like every single person is live with your stream up. So the pressure is pretty high. I don't know how I would personally like handle it all, but I think you do an amazing job, man. And you're super critical of yourself, which is good because it helps you grow and improve. Like I do the same thing with a lot of my interviews. I watch them back. I analyze what I'm saying, how I'm responding, how well I'm doing, what can I improve for next time. And so you have a keen like eye and ear for your own improvements. And it's only going to make you better moving forward when you do the next one, surely.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And I appreciate that. Like the first time I interviewed him, dude, I don't know if you, I think you started playing PoE 2, obviously after that. It was in 2024. Dude, my first interview with Jonathan, didn't even realize it. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he's talking. I have the obs set up improperly, kinda. So like my mic was a little louder than his. And while he was talking, like it was a great conversation. Like Jonathan, I feel like that's when I was like, this is good. Like I got some rapport with Jonathan because it was such an excited conversation. He was so positive, so passionate. We were laughing, but I was doing something that was bad for broadcasting. He would talk and I would act like he was in the room with me, or we were having a one-on-one on Zoom and there weren't thousands of people watching. So when he would say something, I'd be like, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So I'm like drowning him out. Oh my God, dude, it was so bad. It was so bad. And like instantly I saw everybody after was like, bro, why weren't you looking at mod chat? What are you doing? We were telling you to shut up, man. And I'm like, oh God, dude.
Oh,
Never
that's
did that
funny.
again. Never did it again. So
Those are those little things that you have to sort of make the mistake of doing once at least to never do it again. And, you know, I've been there. We've all been there, especially during conversations, like, especially when we're excited, dude. It's so hard not to just like jump in and say what we want to say in that moment. But yeah, dude, like you ended up getting way more interviews after that. So I don't think that he was too upset by it.
no, no, it was just the audience, the poor
Yeah.
audience. I improved it in the future. I learned. I lived and I learned.
Absolutely. That's all we can do. Yeah, so when I was watching the chat, I was actually pretty surprised that there was like a lot of toxicity within the chat at one point, which I think definitely like I could see visibly having an effect on you. Could you tell me or like kind of hash out like kind of what went down during that interview? And yeah, just like how did you feel after all that shit was going down?
Right. Yeah. Here's a little bit of the spicy section, everybody, because I have not talked about this at all publicly. I've talked about it a lot privately, and this was one of the big things that was eating at me, and I think led to some of my burnout with just like playing PoE or anything involved to it. So during the interview, everybody's watching, like you said. You know, all the popular creators are watching. Every creator is watching, right? Everybody's watching there. They want to hear what Jonathan has to say. They want to learn about the release, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I had chat open during the interview. I usually have chat open during the interview because it's usually pretty chill. Like all my other interviews, it was good. You know, I was moving fast, but, you know, chat's usually pretty chill. We never really have to like ban very few people and everything. My mods usually do a great job. That day we had 2 mods in the chat. And we ended up having, you know, I think across YouTube and Twitch, over 10,000 people on my stream alone. And something started to go down. My mods were made aware of it. There was another creator. There was another creator, Rutu. He has a huge audience. He's like one of the top Path of Exile streamers. He had a huge audience. He was watching the interview as well. And he got timed out in the chat by my mods. Okay, right? Timed out, not banned. The narrative that has been spread by people who have talked about it publicly is that he was banned. He wasn't banned. He was timed out. And obviously, I didn't know what was going on. As soon as I saw the chat go berserk, I closed it because I was like, something just happened. I read like Rue has been banned, justice for Rue, and I was like, all right, that's not. I can't get distracted. So I did get visibly a little frazzled a little bit there. And I was set off course, so I closed the chat. Okay. And I was like, we're going to deal with this afterward, but holy crap, privately. And so I found out what happened was what was going on is my mods were made aware because there was a lot of toxicity in the chat, right? As you pointed out, right? I've gone back and I've watched parts of the parts of the chat, and there was a lot of toxicity going on. And what was happening was on Rue's stream, he was like reading the chat. And like his chatters were in my chat typing messages, and he was typing out the messages he thought were funny in his own like chat box, right? Because you can do that, right? And people were like trying to go farther and farther because they were trying to get Rue's attention. They want the cat's attention, right? So they were going farther and farther and getting edgier and more toxic and spamming. And my mods were made aware that this was going on. So they timed him out, which means he can watch the stream, but he can't chat in the stream. He can't type in the box and everything, right? And people flipped out. And that happened during the stream, right? The chat flipped out. And then after the stream, Rue and a few other creators that, you know, I don't really want to name them. I don't bear any ill will toward any of them. Flipped out at me. Yeah, basically just me. And kind of just went in, you know, about how, you know, worthless I am and how, you know, nothing ever good for PoE and I need to get the heck out of the but you know, I watched there's like a 5-minute clip that I collected and watched that, saw other bits and pieces of clips from during the podcast, which, you know, if you want to say he's a jokester, go for it. You can. I respect other people as humans. He doesn't. And, you know, I don't respect that at all. I really don't. I respect pretty much every other content creator. And then after, basically went on a tirade with a few other content creators for hours about me and my impact on the game and and saying a bunch of untrue crap, and that is now propagated throughout the community. And I have seen all these lies about, you know, me, what I've done, what I think, what I haven't done, everywhere ever since then. I see it everywhere. You know, I'll see it in freaking global chat, which I used to have open when I played privately. I see it on the Path of Exile forums, which, yes, I browse the Path of Exile forums. I see it on the PoE2 Reddit. I see it in the main PoE2 Discord. I see it in other Discords. I have, you know, some of my most, I don't know how to, like, passionate people who were in my community have, like, completely 180'd and have believed, like, that I hate the game and I'm bad for the game and I'm pushing, like, the game to its death. And it is unbelievable. And I was getting barraged with, I don't want to say that, it was hundreds of Discord messages, of comments across my videos, just attacking me, of people. We had to ban Cat in Twitch chat because, geez, Twitch chat was just, it was just an absolute maelstrom. And I didn't want to bring a bunch of attention, like a ton of attention to it. I don't really want to talk about that stuff. I know that people say, like, I'm dramatic. I guess I don't know. So in my videos, I think I'm just a very emotional person. But I tend to try to be emotional about, like, the game and dramatic about the game and, like, playing the game and not necessarily about other people. Like, I focus on just, like, ideas and mechanics and the development process and all this stuff. And that really, 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 unlike anything else, this whole situation just affected me deeply. And I know saying this publicly probably could just egg them on, and people have advised me not to do that. People that I really respect, really trust. But it pushed me so much so that, like, I decided, you know, also, a really long time, I've really wanted to do this, like, full time, you know, and I've been juggling my real job, my family, this, really trying to, like, make it work. And in my head, I just had made that mental switch of, you know what, this is, right now, you have a job. You need to not put so much care on this. You need to not care about, you know, what this guy thinks and what all these people think, and let it so much mentally affect you that you're, like, literally getting depressed. And you don't want to play this game that you otherwise enjoy, that your dad enjoys, your brother enjoys, all your best friends from your childhood enjoy, all because of this, and, like, make everything so negative and sour. So I had a huge mental reset as well. So going back to, like, the burnout thing, this heavily affected me. Yeah, all the things I said still stand. I think it's BS, and I have some videos coming out called Path of Exile 2 Quit Moments. It's a great series, kind of like your feedback video on implicit modifiers. In that vein of the things that I'm like, all right, this can be improved. But this, the more I thought on it, was the contributing factor. And it's just, like, it was such a massive weight. And I know that the world is like this. I know that the internet is like this. I know that there are trolls. I know that there are terrible people. But it's just something, I guess I am very sheltered, and I've never really had to deal with that. And I would never in my life, ever, even though I am, like I have very great distaste for how, like, Rue conducts himself and what he says and what he does and what he did there, blah, blah, blah. I don't, like, hate him, and I'm not going to talk a bunch of crap about him. I've been very objective with what happened. This is literally what happened. This is no, like, my feelings, but No, these are the facts. If you go watch some of those clips, that's a bunch of subjectivity, right? Talking about how, I banned him and I hate him, blah, blah, blah. No, none of that happened. That's all lies. That's not what happened, guys. I'm trying to be very objective with this. Anyway, yeah, I would just never treat anybody like that. And it still fascinates me in this community about a video game that people act like this. And I have decided, especially since I'm not trying to make it my full-time job actively anymore, I'm just going to be kind of free with what I say. I would not have said that if I was trying to go full-time, because that's a naughty thing. You don't say things about other creators, and unless, you want to punch down at them or whatever, right? You don't say just very basic, true things that happen that are upsetting. You don't do that. Well, I'm doing it here and now, and I know that it's probably not the best idea, but I think it's important to talk about because a lot of people are there. A lot of people, I think, this is a theory, this is speculation. I think a lot of people think exactly like how I think, but they don't want to say it. They are scared to say it because I was that way for a long time and still kind of am right now. I might be shaking a little bit. Who knows? So, okay, long answer to that question, but there you go, bro.
I appreciate you sharing those insights, man. First off to say, just I think the clarity that I just received from that long explanation helped me understand your disposition so much more with your video. Anybody who's watching your kind of burnout or negative, I guess you would say, opinion about the game in 0.4 maybe wasn't understanding these things that you were dealing with that probably contributed massively and almost exacerbated the feelings of frustration. When I don't find something in Path of Exile 2, it's frustrating, but I'm not dealing with this particular weight on my shoulders that's going to absolutely enhance the feelings of frustration and stuff like that. So I think all of this makes so much more sense after hearing kind of the way that things went down and sort of the events that occurred afterwards. And my perspective was that I was super disappointed to see that happen because I know, because we talk off stream and stuff like that, that you are really focused on preparing these interviews to the best of your ability. You're really focused on accumulating all of the community questions and trying to be as representative of the community as you can be. And so it just really fucking sucks to see that being overshadowed by a bunch of bullshit during an interview that everyone's looking forward to, man. We're all excited. It's a pre-patch season. We all can't wait to watch these interviews. So yeah, it was just super disappointing to see how that all went down. But I'm really happy you took a break from all that shit and bounced back, and now you're just vibing with the game and in a better place.
Seriously.
Man.
Yeah, making learning all this stuff about the game that I didn't know, and having just a grand old time. It's been great. So it's been really freeing, just thinking over, having that break, thinking it over it all, and just deciding I can speak out against it. I think he got banned, and I said something. I was good, should be banned, should not accept that in our community, shouldn't do it.
And it was for a completely separate issue too. It was
completely
almost,
wasn't related.
Yeah. It was not related at all.
Yeah. Wasn't related. It was 3 days after, right? Wasn't related. But I think I saw maybe one other creator. I don't want to name them. Say something. But it's, I don't know. It felt very, not because that is. I feel so strongly about it, and I know people are oh, it's just trolling, it's just red, and we just had this whole clip thing in 0.3, and he's also a large part of that. This is totally separate. This is not clip. This is behavior. This is just it. Honestly, I just would never conduct myself, and he has a big following. He has a really big following, and it is just very, very surprising. But yeah, anyway, I don't like harping on all that stuff, and that's why I didn't make a video about it. That's why on streams, I know some people in the chat right now are why are you talking about this non-PoE stuff? Well, guys, this is the Passive Tree podcast, and we're going to talk about whatever the heck we want, right, guys? We're going to talk about non-PoE stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, it's all been very, very fascinating to see, and it's a good learning experience. So I think the biggest thing, I'm gonna humble brag here. The most proud thing is that I talked no shit publicly and very little shit privately about him. I couldn't. I had to talk a little shit because I was pissed. I was like, "This is crazy. This is like just an overall W for the community. We get to talk to the devs. You know, we're asking a bunch of the questions. Maybe it's not in the exact way that you would want to hear them asked or the responses you get, but we get to do this. That's so cool. How awesome is this?" And all the conversation around it, I kid you not, everybody, was not about the interview. It was about that, and it was rampaging through the community. And it has made me like so almost averse to wanting to reach out again. But fuck that. I'm going to reach out again. You kidding me? Maybe not 0.5 because I think they're only doing like one streamer. So it's like, I don't want to ask again on the chance that I would like get it again. Right. But in the future, heck yeah, guys. Heck yeah. Not dissuading me. You think you're going to discourage me? Hell no. I'm just going to speak up against you, bro. All right. That's it. That's it.
So as a follow-up, you said you didn't really talk about this too much privately, but you know, I think that it's important when we're dealing with sort of this like mental stress, all this type of bullshit to just like chat about it, honestly, with like our friends, our loved ones, you know, our support system and whatnot. I'm sure you have your own support system, obviously, with your family and things. Was there anything that you know, anybody that you talked to that gave you some like good advice? Like, did you get any like advice that was super helpful to help like process and deal with all this shit?
I mean, everybody said the exact same thing in different ways. It was essentially, you know, fuck them. I mean, that's the succinct word of it. You know, my dad, my brother, my friends, my wife. My wife didn't say that. She never says the F word. She refuses to say it even in private. I can't even goad her into it, guys. She just like, she'll spell it out, but she won't say it. She still says frick. She still says frick. Like we're in middle school still. It's crazy. But they all kind of just, you know, said, God doesn't matter. Just continue being yourself. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe they're jealous that they're not in that seat asking those questions. Like, you know, that was a lot along the same veins of it. Because I didn't, when I talked to them, you know, I kind of had to just explain the situation because a lot of them play. Very few of them watch like the developer stuff. Like my brother doesn't even watch the reveals. How can you play Path of Exile 2 and not watch the goated reveals? I don't know if you're watching this, bro. Maybe you are. You're crazy. You got to watch those reveals, man. That's one of the best parts of the patches. Anyway, they don't watch all this stuff, so I had to explain the situation. But, you know, I talked to a few of my, you know, creator friends, and that is when I kind of went and I'm like, this is some bull. This is some actual, this is crazy. I'm so mad. I can't believe this happened. And I really try to refrain from doing that. I really try to refrain. If I find myself talking shit about someone, I have to check myself because I really don't like doing that. In my real life, in this, you know, I remember, maybe this is a little, I think it's okay. I remember during the tourist drama in 0.3, when it all happened, I was at a water park and I was super sick because I was sick that weekend but we had it booked. So I went and I sat in my hotel room while my kids and my wife were in the water park playing, right? And I opened Discord and everybody's freaking out. They're like, yeah, babe. Oh, it's going. Everybody was like, you know, like going really hard. Like, yeah, go get him, man. And I was like, oh God, this is bad. This is bad. Pull the alarm. And, and you know, but I still slip into it too. Like I lose my crap sometimes privately, but I knew like you can do it privately and you can recover, but publicly it's really hard. And you know what? My boy, Counteract, freaking has recovered. Log in, dude. He's embraced it. He's killing it. Absolutely killing it. Yeah. Man, I forgot your question. I'm yapping way too much. My words per minute must be like up there, dude. Honestly.
Oh, I mean, I know, you know, talkative tribe being a yapper. Who would have thought, boys?
True.
Who would have thought? But yeah, man, like it sounds like you got some good advice from the homies. I remember listening to your interview with Rax, and it kind of felt like you had some sort of like therapy session at the end, like not in a bad way at all. Like he was able to just, you know, as he does, so well spoken, so articulate, like provide you with some like awesome stuff that needed to hear, and that was like public as well. And so, you know, like it sounds like you have it sounds like you had some good support from the homies and shit like that to get through that.
Freaking Rax, man. Yeah, Rax, that was such a great conversation at the end too. And that's actually the first convo post interview that I had with my dad was He didn't watch the interview. He watched the Rax summary of the interview, and he texted me, yo, Rex just gave you massive props on your interview. He really liked it. He laid everything out. Sounds like it went really well, son. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, Rax he is amazing. Dude is a blaster to his core and a good person. You can be an optimizer, min-maxer, sweaty, playing 14 hours, and you could be a good person. These two things can't exist at the same time. A lot of people, I swear, they're like, to be a blaster, I must also be a bad person. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Really. But yeah, Rax is great. Jez also had some really nice words. Connor too. Connor was really nice. Everybody who talked to me immediately after that. I think even though I didn't talk about it publicly, I think a lot of people kind of realized that I was like, oh, I'm not feeling that great. You know, Dead Rabbit 2 in private. Before our podcast, we talked about it too. Don't get this twisted, guys. I have talked, and maybe they don't like me. I don't care if they don't like me. I like them. I have talked to dozens of people. I think I have like 70 episodes of Still Sane. Almost all of them are with different creators. All of them are good. All of them are really nice behind the scenes. All of them are really chill. They're like all great. No problems. Seriously. All great. The scene is filled with great people, including yourself. I'm sure you might have the same experience, like talking with people, getting like the setup and like the shooting the shit and everything, and just chatting with them, and then talking with them after the fact. Like it's full of like really good people. That's the thing, you know? It's nice.
Oh yeah, no, I talk about this on a lot of episodes. I feel like people are probably sick of me talking about I always call it like the secret sauce that the community has in PoE specifically, but I always fall back on this sort of I still get surprised about it from time to time, just because I have been involved in quite a few gaming communities, and yeah, none have been bar none as like excellent as the PoE 2 space has been for me anyway. Like it's just full of massive, amazing people. So shout out to all you guys for like listening, and people who are enjoying the show and all that kind of stuff. You guys are dope. I'm happy that you brought up the Still Sane podcast. This man is a master of segues to my own questions. So, dude, the Still Sane podcast has been an inspiration for me ever since I started doing my podcast. It's been a wonderful avenue to help the Path of Exile 2 community, this community that we've just been speaking so highly of, connect to each other, and all with regards to creators of all sizes. I mean, you don't exclude people. You go from people like Rax, you go to people like me and everybody in between. How do you feel about its overall effect on the community?
Well, I think that it's a net positive. I think it's great. My goal initially for it was to do something that I felt was lacking in the PoE community leading up to PoE 2. Just wasn't long form discussions about the game, getting people's deep thoughts on it. You turn on a stream and it's not very often that you get an extended thought, right? Someone talking about a build, it's someone, trying to get a clip, right? There's none of this long form discussion. Video essays also didn't really happen with PoE. That's why I also started doing like video essays, right? And they're a lot more prevalent now. Nice. And they're great, right? And this long form discussion was something that I really, really wanted to try to get. And I just flung it out there, reached out to some people, and it just connects all these different creators together. It's so great. It introduces all you guys watching right now to numerous different creators. That was one of the big goals too, because even though it's like a really niche community, there's still so many creators and they all do different things, and YouTube just might not feed their video to you ever. And you might never discover them, right? Unless you see them on another creator that you enjoy, and you see them like on their channel, and then you find maybe your new favorite creator. I know like a lot of people were introduced to you through me chatting with you. I know a lot of people were introduced to like Jazzarus too. There are some other smaller folks that people are introduced to. And it's just been great. It's really been great. I like chatting at length, and I like hearing people's full takes on things instead of just trying to get like the witty one-liners and stuff as well. It's fun. It's nice.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I mean, I'm sort of getting the same like feedback that I'm sure you get all the time, where you're like, yo, like I just listened to your pod with X, and I'm like, I'm such a big fan now. Thank you for like showcasing
Yep.
this like new creator
100%.
that's also like awesome. And so it is just like such a cool thing to be able to do. And yeah, I honestly feel like the Still Sane podcast is kind of like the glue for like the community. Like it kind of connects us all together in some sort of way. So super cool. Big props for doing that, man. As a follow-up, this is a hard one, by the way. You don't have to say one, you could say a few, but any favorite episodes personally from the 70 plus over the years?
Okay, well, immediately two names come to mind as favorites.
Okay.
Sorry. The first name that came to, and this is a selfish one. Okay.
Mhm.
Launch day, Path of Exile 2. We're waiting in the queue. It's a little rocky. I get a freaking Twitter message from the one and only Josh Stripe Hayes, who I'd been messaging back and forth about. I tried to get him on earlier, but conflicts of interest, and he's like, "Hey, I'm just sitting in the queue too. Haven't kicked up the stream yet. You want me to hop on? Want to chat?" Bro comes on my podcast and interviews me and glazes me. Dude I think that has gotta be. It's got to be my number one. I mean, it was just such a surreal experience because he is besides Wooden Potatoes, probably my favorite YouTuber, the one I watched the most, all his video essays on MMOs, all of his Was It Goods on his Josh Drive Plays channel. I watched his live streams. His shorts are hilarious. Dude is so witty. He runs like a D&D campaign. That was surreal. Absolutely surreal. And I've kept in contact ever since, which is even more surreal. Dude is just genuinely good guy. He likes passionate people. He's great. Love him. So I think that's probably number one episode, personally. The other name that came to mind was Kitten Cat Noodle. Kitten Cat Noodle. Oh, wow. Kitten Cat Noodle, resident lore expert in PoE. I started my channel making lore videos because I really like PoE's lore. And she commented on like my second video, and she was like, "Yo, this is so good. I love this theory, and I like the way you laid it out. Keep going. This is great. I'm sure you'll grow. I'm sure you'll grow one day." And that was I had like, I don't know, 10 subscribers or something. And she probably got fed it because there's not a lot of lore content, right? So her YouTube algorithm showed it. She clicked it. She watched it. She commented. She was so nice. And then I got to meet her in person too, like in LA. She was so nice there. It was great to talk with her about PoE 2, and just life. And then the podcast episode was just great. It's the longest Still Sane podcast episode, and we talk 95% about lore. Don't get to do that with anyone else. That was a good one. So I always remember that one. And the plan is to have her on again once the story is completed.
I love that. No surprise that when two PoE lore nerds get together on a podcast, that they could yap almost infinitely about with the various intricacies of that. That's super cool. Do you ever plan on like bringing back the lore videos? Because I know a lot of people kind of got introduced to your channel way back in the day from your lore content. Is it something you ever think about getting back into?
Yeah, my number one video on my channel is the lore video I released right before PoE 2 came out. People love the lore, man. And I really want to do that. The problem is I need to script those out, and I want to be meticulous with them. I want to make sure the script is tight. I want to make sure the footage is relevant, and it requires a ton of time in and a lot of investment and a lot of focus. And admittedly, even though like I do try to, when I sit down and I record something, I focus. I usually get stuff done pretty quickly, like a few days. I feel like this would take weeks to do, months to do. And if I ever had that sort of time to sit, focus, mull over something, I will, 100%. I mean, I really want to. I have all drafts ready to go. Like I have like outlines and everything because I've fully scripted multiple videos, but I just have to do that next, I'd say like 70% of the work. So yeah, 100% I would like to. Maybe for like 1.0, if that comes like, this year, next year.
Yes, dude.
But yeah, I think so. I'd love to. They're very calm, really chill. People do seem to enjoy them. So
yeah,
I like the lore.
They're longer too, so they're obviously more work intensive. I feel like as a somebody who's kind of still trying to figure out what videos I like to make, I've just been I always say putting on a different lure and like throwing it in and seeing what I can catch. And It's nice to do the smaller videos. Like it's way more manageable time wise. Like the implicit modifier video I did in like an afternoon. I wrote the script, edited it, boom, it's on the internet, and you don't even have to worry about it.
Very
There
nice.
is a certain satisfaction of like doing like the bigger pieces of content though, like the more substantial pieces of content. And I know what you mean. It's hard to balance out to find the time to do that. You already do a ton, not even being a full-time creator. So yeah, it's pretty impressive, man, for sure.
It's so satisfying to see people enjoy those videos too, and to see if they pop too. Like the lore video, like I think it's at like 250 or something views, and it still gets like hundreds of views every few days because people are like coming in, they're interested in the lore.
It's
So
evergreen too. It
numbers wise
doesn't
too.
ever
Yes.
go bad, right? Like whereas I feel like with PoE as content creators, our content is essentially irrelevant by next week. Sometimes you make a video about a patch, and then GGG patches it the next day, and then all of a sudden your video is basically irrelevant. And the same can be said for
Yeah.
build guides and stuff like that too. So I feel like the lore is kind of like one of the very few things you can do that like can exist just indefinitely without becoming irrelevant.
100%. Yep. I totally agree. Especially the lore in PoE 2. I don't know if people have paid more attention in Act 4 and the past few patches, but they're taking a step up. Your characters interacting. There's a lot more little lore nuggets. The leagues are much deeper. Even Keepers of the Flame in PoE 1, which was really fun. I really liked it. The lore in there was also sick. So they are upping their game. I think I asked Jonathan about it. They said they upped their team size for the narrative team. Like they hired multiple more narrative designers so they could pack in more of this content, which is very exciting to me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, they do a wonderful job over there. So speaking of videos, you actually released a pretty spicy video a couple days ago called "The Golden Age of PoE 1 is over, and it's time for PoE 2." Are we ready for this conversation? I tried to go from heavy to light, and now we're gonna go back into heavy again. Are you ready to get into
Expertly
this
weaving
one?
it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so that video drops. Walk us through sort of your inspiration for creating this particular piece of content and elaborate on sort of your takes about it.
Perfect. So the night that I wrote it, because I wrote that in just an evening, I just went, and I wrote it out, scripted it, recorded it early in the morning the next day. The night that I wrote it, GGG announced their timeline for Path of Exile 1's next expansion, okay? Which is March, early March, okay? And fellow content creator Connor Converse released a video on it. I think it's called "This Spells Bad News for Path of Exile," or like the Path of Exile 1 release spells, or the date, whatever, something. Bad news for PoE. That was the title. I'm probably butchering, but that was the essence. And he kind of talks about, hey, the release is here, and that means that there's probably only going to be 1 month of PoE 1, and then the PoE 2 expansion comes out, and everybody will want to go back to PoE 2. It's not evenly spaced. I think this is bad news for PoE 1's future. And it kind of inspired me to think, okay, I really wonder what the future of these games are, because as I lay out in the video, right? If you watch the video, it's a very well-reasoned, it is an essay. I did not off the cuff. I wrote this out. I know what I said. It's not like, man, I was speaking off the cuff. Did I say what these people are saying in the comments? Maybe they did. I don't know. I got to go back and watch it. I know what I said. I have the script, but I lay out, 3 different viewpoints of what will happen to PoE 2 and PoE 1 in the future, because obviously the games are affecting each other, and Grinding Gear Games has made certain promises, and lots of people have thoughts about these games and the promises GGG have made. Okay, so I lay out 3 viewpoints, and then I end the video with my own viewpoint. Okay, and I say this in the first 10 seconds of the video. I say, hey, this video is going to lay out 3 viewpoints about, will PoE 1 be killed by PoE 2? How much will PoE 2 affect PoE 1? All of the first several seconds. And then I say, and I will end ultimately with my own viewpoint on what I think is going to happen. All right. So none of this is stating as fact. All of this is subjective. All this is just opinion. It's just an essay. It's just to spark discussion, not to rage bait people. I'm not trying to polarize people. I'm just trying to discuss. I was like, I know people won't believe me. I did not think this was going to piss a whole bunch of people off. I did not. I thought it was going to spark debate. I'm an idiot. Of course it's going to piss people off. I don't know when I'm going to learn. I got to learn this, dude, because I am so freaking naive. I'm like, yeah, people will talk about this. You know, it's relevant. You know, we have Connor, because I read Connor's comments and they were like, fine. They were like, not mediocre. What is it? They were like very calm, like, right? They were measured. Measured is the word. I'm like, very measured. I'm like, sick. And I read the comments on the announcement and they were all very measured. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to put out a measured video too. The comments will be measured. No, they are not measured. Okay. So I lay out 3 viewpoints. First viewpoint is I think the one that GGG pitches and that some people think will happen. It's the optimistic view of all this is temporary. PoE 2 getting a lot of attention. Once PoE 2 is out, they'll get more equal attention and they will all both run in perpetuity alongside each other with a pretty even split. I think that's kind of what GGG has said, right? They've acknowledged, hey, you know, PoE 1 has hit kind of its cap. Mark said that in the last dev talk with Siggy. PoE 1's hit its cap. It's got like a lot of vets. It'll have new players. But compared to PoE 2, it's not going to get a lot of new players. But that doesn't mean we're going to stop content. We're going to, you know, release updates and da-da-da-da-da. It's going to have one every 4 months, okay? So it's going to be even. Right now, it's a little uneven, though, with the release cycles, as Connor pointed out. So that was viewpoint 1. I lay that all out. Very, very measured. Viewpoint 2 is another viewpoint that a lot of the community has, which is Path of Exile 1 is going to die. It's just going to die. PoE 2 is going to kill it. GGG are, you know, lying. They are literally going to sunset PoE 1 in a year or 2 years, and it's going to be 0 PoE 1 updates and all PoE 2. That's the other review. That is a very popular. I read, guys. I read a lot, okay? I don't just, I read. I don't just take these out of the ether. I read a lot, okay? I love reading. That's a very popular viewpoint, okay? So that was the other viewpoint I presented, and I was very fair. I was like, this is why people feel this way. You know, there's these huge content droughts. You know, PoE 2 gets a lot of focus. You know, it gets more patches after release. I'm very level-headed, okay? Viewpoint 3, another one that I think is the least popular and the most ridiculous, but I see it all the time on like PoE 1 content creator primary videos and the Path of Exile subreddit. PoE 2 is a failure. PoE 2 sucks. They're going to release it. It's going to die. And then they're going to scurry back to PoE 1. And I'm like, bro, cooked. No, that was the most like, I think most dismissive and maybe the most like polarizing one. I thought. I was like, okay, some people will probably get mad because I'm being so dismissive of it. But come on, look at this. It is a massive success. It is like financially successful. Lots of people do love it. It's being played by a lot of people. Like there's all these things that contribute, right? And it's only 4 updates in. It's not even fully released. And people already love it, as we talked about earlier. Okay, so that was viewpoint 3. Long-winded answer again. I am yapping a lot. Sorry, Blaze. And then
lots to talk about. It's all good, brother. All good.
Lots to talk about. And then the last point was my viewpoint. And I put text on screen. It says, here is finally my viewpoint. These are my feelings, okay? And my viewpoint is the title of the video. The golden age of PoE 1 is over. It's time for PoE 2. And in that section, I lay out the fact that I think what's going to happen is kind of a middle of the road thing, essentially. I think that PoE 2 is the future, but they will not abandon PoE 1 because that game is freaking great, that people are passionate players of it. They love it. The developers know that. The developers love it. But I think they will realize the potential of this other game, and they are going to divulge more resources to it in the future. And it will receive more attention, more players, more development effort, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. For all these reasons, I lay out a bunch of reasons for that, right? And I say, like, I do not want PoE 1 to die. I do not think PoE 2 is going to kill PoE 1, but I think that PoE 1, the golden age is over. And I should have said this in the video, but I think the golden age of PoE 1 was, for people who have played PoE 1, 3.13, which is Echoes of the Atlas, I believe, all the way to 3.18, which is Sentinel League. I think that's my personal favorite time, and I think a lot of people will agree that is like the golden age. And by golden age, I mean the peak of prosperity, the peak of happiness, the peak of discovery, of new content. You know, they came out with the Atlas tree and the Maven, all this cool, crazy, innovative stuff. I think that was the peak. I think that was the golden age. And that's what I mean when I say. I'm not rage baiting. I'm not clickbaiting. It's exactly what the video breaks down. Okay, so that's the video, right? That's basically the video. People comment. Try thinks PoE 1 should die. Try thinks Try hates PoE 1. He's never even played PoE 1. He hates this game. He only likes PoE 2. He does nothing good for the community. He is a total delulu idiot. He knows nothing. Never listen to a word he says. Total idiot. He's only doing this to rage bait people. He only wants clicks, engagement. This is his full-time job. All he wants is the money off you. By the way, guys, video didn't really do that well. You know, who cares? Videos aren't doing well right now. You know when I should go max rage bait? Week one is max rage bait. Now is not max rage bait. Videos are not popping off now. I did this because I felt passionate about how people were receiving the PoE 1 news. And I was like, I have an opinion on this. I'm going to write out an essay. I'm not going to shoot from the hip. I'm going to write out a well-reasoned essay, and it's going to spawn forth some respectful discussion.
I don't really understand the whole never played PoE 1 thing. Like, that blows my mind, bro. I see those comments sometimes, and I'm like, this dude just literally got like 40 out of 40 or whatever, like in Keepers of the Flame. Like, that, you play the game. You play the game.
Some popular people say that, so, and people believe them. They're trolling,
wild,
probably.
It's wild, bro. Oh, yeah.
Well, so that's the video.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, man, it was an interesting video. It kind of came at an interesting time. I think that, especially with like the new PoE 1 league on the way, I'm very keen to see what they do there, because right now, for me, when I watched it, I thought to myself, like, it just makes sense. It makes sense that PoE 2 is getting more attention right now. Like, why would they spend 50% of their resources working on a game that's already complete? I think that, like, what will really shed light on this whole situation, that, like, will either incite Doom or not. I don't think Doom is really necessary right now, because it's just so, like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to use the word common sense, but for me, it feels like common sense that are actually supporting PoE 2 a lot more than PoE 1 right now. What will happen, or when PoE 2 gets finished, sorry, I'm butchering this sentence. When PoE 2 gets finished, we will see how they go back to treating PoE 1. Maybe it will be a renaissance at that point. I think it probably deserves that, if I'm being honest. But I think those actions by GGG will really dictate whether we should be dooming about PoE 1 or not right now. I don't know if the doom is necessarily worthy right at this moment, because it just makes too much sense that they're going to be developing their new shiny game for a bit that's not done yet, right?
Yeah. The other thing too, which I didn't mention much in the video because I feel like it's been talked to death, but some people, judging from the comments, still have this opinion, is that GGG are almost, I don't know if sabotage is the right word, but they're kind of, PoE 2 is not what it originally was pitched as, right? It's not. It's not. Like, you were talking with, who was a guy that dies about 0.1 the other day, and how totally different game. You know, a guy that dies had an awesome quote. He was like, "Oh, I would get a 0.25 flask regen flask." And I'm like, "Oh my God, log in," because the boss fights were that intense, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. They've made a lot of changes to the game. They made it a lot like easier, a lot more streamlined. It is much more like PoE 1 now than it was 1 year ago. All right. They are like pushing toward each other. And I think that's really bad, especially if people want PoE 1 to live. Because if PoE 2 just becomes better PoE 1, because they're just going to keep adding more systems, they're going to keep adding more options, more classes, more diversity, more variety, right? All this stuff is, it's gonna like encroach on what makes PoE 1 special, especially if like the gameplay loop is very similar too, which I think it is. I just played Keepers of the Flame. I played a lot of it. I played like 42 hours of it, and I went right to 0.4. Dang, it's pretty similar. PoE 2 honestly just feels a lot better though. It's very similar. The campaigns are really different.
Yes.
Really different. That is the big different factor. But the end games, oh man, that's very similar. And that's what a lot of people spend the most time in, right? So I feel like that's unfortunate, because PoE 2 was pitched for many years to be originally, you know, the expansion to PoE 1, and then in 2023 they're like, oh, it's actually going to be like really different, and that didn't happen. That's not what happened. So I think that's bad for PoE 1 as well. Another point that a few people brought up that I think is also true that I didn't say in that video is that PoE 2 in a way is like good for PoE 1 because it's also introducing a lot of people to PoE 1. And I think that's a great point. That's a very fair point, right? I think a lot of people play PoE 2. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't, and then they hear about PoE 1, and either way, they go try it out, and they might love PoE 1 because that's a great game. Great game. Love that game. thousands of hours in the game, right? So, yeah, it's you're totally right. It's all speculation too, which is what I people are just very passionate, get very angry about this, and I did not expect this at all, honestly. Oops.
Well, it's a
Oopsie.
very contentious issue. It's been an issue in the
Yeah.
community for like, ever since I've been a part of it. So, ever since I started playing PoE 2, I kind of noticed this divide between some PoE 1 players and PoE 2 players. And you're absolutely right. In the previous conversation I had with Guy That Dies last episode, we were like reminiscing on the struggle that 0.1 was. And damn, dude, I fucking struggled in this game. And I think it was a combination of two factors. One, the game was much harder. Just straight outright, it was way harder. We were also all dog shit at the game. So that combination,
Yes.
and now we're much better. There's been many, many things solved and figured out. And sadly, or maybe not sadly, depending on how you look at it, I think GGG listens as they do to their community and made adjustments. They changed the game. They made it easier for basically everybody. And with those changes, which were incited by feedback from the community, it actually lost sort of that initial oomph that it might have had in 0.1. That like, holy shit, I just found a fucking flask to recharging flask. Like I'm good now. I can actually fight bosses and shit. So do you think that they'll ever go back to pushing more difficult stuff? This is like a very demanded thing, like especially in the end game. A lot of people want like this, aspirational content. Yeah, to sort of even out the game.
Yeah, I think they'll push more challenging stuff. The aspirational content, like you say, I think that kind of exists in the temple right now. You can like juice up the temple to be pretty hard. However, there's also the factor of power creep. I've seen the builds that people can make. They're more ridiculous than PoE 1 builds. Honestly, guys, it's crazy. That's the thing that I think they have to rein in. Like they have to decide what they want the maximum power ceiling to be and how fast they want people to be able to clear content, because the players are smart enough to figure out how to get to that maximum and above it at this point. Like it's crazy. Like the builds that I've seen in the campaign, though, it's done. I think it's done. They reverted, or sorry, they didn't revert. They nerfed it all. The campaign is the big one that really hit me, I think. The campaign, like they nerf the damage of like bosses, and they nerf the health of bosses. You look at Act 1 GNR in 0.1, and you put that side by side with 0.3, 0.4. Holy crap. I mean, the difference is, it's wild. It's just wild. I know I was also worse at the game. Doesn't matter. I F up in 0.3, 0.4. Doesn't matter. I can be punished, and he won't kill me. He won't kill me if I press like a heal. But in 0.1, you F up. Oh my, you are being punished, and it is like it's an actual punishment. It felt like a true battle. Now, dude, it's so easy. You got to get to Iron Citadel GNR, 6 mods, then you have your butt clenched unless you have a really good build. That is for people who aren't min-maxing like myself, making like our own builds. Dude, Citadel bosses, 6 mod, max boss difficulty, with tablet juice, with monster effectiveness and oh my god, dude. Like crazy health. I'm not doing, it takes me probably 3 minutes to down like Jamanra, Gianor, Doriani. Like he seems like such a wuss, but Jamanra and Gianor, dude, and they hit hard. Those are some good fights. Those are some good fights in endgame. So
Yeah,
that gives me that feeling of the 0.1 again.
for sure. And I don't disagree with the choice to make the campaign easier. Like, as much as I'm a masochist and I enjoy eating glass for breakfast and I enjoy the hardest possible way to play the game, I know that the majority of the people don't want that. And it's not good for new players to hop in and get to Geonor like my one friend did and quit the game. He got to Geonor and he spent like 2 days trying to beat him. And he just got his ass handed to him over and over and over again. And he was just like, I don't want to play this game. I never struggled like I did in PoE 1, in PoE 2. And so the rationale for the, changes made sense to me. But at the same time, it's kind of this interesting dynamic where that was kind of, for me, what made me fall in love with PoE 2. I mean, I still love the game, of course, but it was that oomph, as I kind of talked about before, where it was fucking hard, dude. Like, it was actually really hard. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the act, so like Geonor, I feel like was really, the whole manor, 0.1, the manor, top to bottom, peak. Lovely. Love it. Another like power spike was the Val City, Utsal. Oh my gosh. And 0.1, dude, I was hard locked there. I was like farming previous zones. I was trying to min-max everything because I was getting my butt handed to me. I got stuck there, I think, for like 5, 6 hours live. It was embarrassing, but it was also so cool. And that just has not happened in the campaign since. It feels much more in the same vein as PoE 1, where you get a few things going and you're you're not moving nearly as fast as in PoE 1, but the struggle is not there, I don't think, anymore. I think that opinion is still pretty popular on some forums. I legitimately question if those people have played since like 0.2. I think a lot of the changes happened in 0.2. I wonder if they play the campaign since, because I feel like the campaign, not a slog. You can get through a bit. I'm doing it while streaming, while interacting with chat, effing around, interludes and all, 10 hours. And I'm not following a build. I'm like screwing around in my passive tree. It's not a slog. I really don't think it is. You can do it as fast as the PoE 1 campaign. 100%. You just got to get used to it, like you are with the PoE 1 campaign.
Yeah, no, I've come to understand it over many hours, and I'm such a big fan of the campaign. I think it's still like my favorite part of the game. I love it. I love it to death. I've done it many times. I just did it again today, and as I was going through it, I enjoyed the beats as I always do. But yeah, it's something that people struggle with a lot because of their unfamiliarity with it, and I think that leads them to their frustrations. Like, yeah, it's as simple as that. I think, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of people, maybe they forget. Maybe I'm being uncharitable to them. Maybe they forget how they were when they first played PoE 1, because my first PoE 1 campaign was like 35, 40 hours probably to get through it, right? And I got that down easily to like 10, 11 hours very quickly. I just repeated it it probably took me 5, 6 leagues, but I got it down to be really quick. Got faster. I feel like the same's going to happen with PoE 2, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one, there are the Chimeral Wetlands in Act 3. I hate that map. I want that map to be smaller. Okay? That's the one that I will bitch about endlessly. Oh god, I hate that map, dude. I always get lost.
That's your problematic map. That's the one that you're like, out of all of them, that's the layout that you hate the most.
That's the one, man. I'm like fine with Act 2. I guess Act 2 is like the lowest rated act by a lot of people. It's still Act 3 for me. Easy Act 3. I do not. That's my least favorite act. It's good, but it's not my favorite.
I got you. Yeah, I don't even know what my least favorite zone is anymore. I think, how do you say it? Fuck upon you island, maybe, when you get to the island and it's kind of like a weird, like, dude. I just have, here's the thing. It's a newer act for me, so I haven't figured out the layout or how the things work. So I know it's sort of a skill issue for me, but I find that no matter where I go, I still end up the wrong place and I end up being in the shark area. So I think that might be the more problematic area for me. It's definitely more of a layout issue.
You don't like carrying that fin around for all of Act 4?
Dude, they made you able to drop it now, bro. You can drop the fin, boys. When you pick it up, when you kill the shark boss, you can drop it on the ground. It's huge. Massive jump.
I did not know. Okay, good to know.
Yeah. Yes. So I'd love to move on to some more like light-hearted questions. We've been through the thick of this conversation, and I appreciate you sort of shedding light on a lot of things. So yeah, dude, just thank you for coming on and for just like being so cool to talk about everything, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, 100%. Thanks for having me on, dude. And sorry for canceling a few weeks ago. I honestly forget what happened. I think it was a kid thing, but I can't remember. So sorry.
Oh, dude, I had Wydock in the chat. I was like, brother, you're up. And he just subbed right in. So we were able to move onwards. Yeah, it was all good. So, dude, I want to talk to you a bit more about the family dynamic with PoE 2. I think that this is such a unique thing. Like, obviously you're super passionate about the game, but then you're also able to like share this passion with like your dad and your wife and your brother and stuff like that. Like, how does it feel for you to be able to connect with your family through this like amazing video game that we all love so much?
I love it, man. It used to be Dungeons and Dragons that we used to connect over. And unfortunately, ever since I have kids, I haven't really been able to play a lot of D&D. So for the past like 2.5, 3 years, we didn't really share any hobby, right? I played Path of Exile 1. My brother played like frickin' Skyrim Edition 20. He also plays World of Tanks and all that crap. Factorio. He played all those games. My dad, I introduced him to Diablo 4. He played Diablo 4 for several seasons, and he also played Baldur's Gate 3. We didn't like share any common hobbies that we could do together, besides going, chatting, watching football, whatever. So having this, I mean, I'm so happy because I didn't know if they would like it because they didn't like PoE 1. They all tried PoE 1. None of them liked it. They all bounced. And I'm like, all right, you guys, it's happening. Let's do it. Let's try it. My brother actually, I think, waited quite a bit to try it. I think he waited like 3 weeks or something before he tried it. But all my friends, they hopped in and they have been playing since 0.1. So has my dad. And they've freaking loved it. It's my dad's friend. He's also my friend now. Like some of my dad's childhood friends, we showed it to them too. They're playing it. It's so funny watching them play it because they are the epitome of like they
Yeah.
are the true like no knowledge, very casual, what's going on. I'm literally taking 50 hours to get through the campaign like gamer. And we have a Discord server, Prostagma, named after a line from Age of Mythology from the Greek villagers, and they'll just ask questions in there, and some of them are like absolutely just hilarious. And recently they learned how to use like trade in game, literally zero point 0.4 guys, they learned how to use like trade in game. They refuse to use the website, but it's just so fascinating to see all these very different types of people play, because no matter what you might say about me being casual, I am way more of a sweat than the people in my Discord channel. Not my dad, okay? And actually, dude, not my brother and not my friends this league. They're going hard. My brother is flipping crap on the market. He's like getting into the market Mongol crap, sitting in his hideout. He's like, I think he's got like 90 hours in the game. He's level 92. He's just sitting in his hideout, and he loves it. He loves it. He's like gambling heavy belts with Omen of the Ancients and doing Omen of Desecration gambles with Timeless Jewels, and he's loving it, which is just crazy. It's like that's why this game's so cool, because there's so many different ways that people can enjoy it. I don't know. It's great. It's so great, man. I don't know. Have you tried to introduce any of your fam or your partner to PoE 2? Have they taken on to it?
I try to introduce everybody to it because I'm like, I need more people to share this passion of mine, and that's why I started the podcast, so I could just like nerd out with people about it. So my brother has played it. He played it starting in like 0.1 as well, and he hasn't really gotten back into it, but he has a really shitty computer, so he's absolutely gate kept by anything that has like way too many particle effects on his screen. So he can't play any of the cool builds. He could never play Snoo-Base Twister build ever. It would make his computer explode.
Man.
Yeah.
100%.
So he was stuck doing, I believe he played like a cold sorceress, which was like in 0.1 not the way to enjoy the sorceress. He could never do, he couldn't play Spark, and he really wanted to play Spark, so he got really mad and quit the game. Yeah, and then the partner, we've played a little bit throughout the campaign. She's very new. We played like Diablo 4 together, and she really liked the campaign experience in that game. But
wow, okay.
with many games, I kind of have to, put her on my back, and my back can only handle so much carrying to a certain point. And so, I don't know if ARPGs are the types of games that she'll ever enjoy, but it was cool to get her to at least try it and see, what her thoughts were about it. She liked it, but it was a bit too complicated. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I feel like my wife might get into it once our kids are older, as long as PoE 2 hasn't died and PoE 1 now reigns supreme, because I could not get her to play PoE 1. WASD is something I also, sorry to go back, but that's something I didn't mention in my video that is also such a big draw to a lot of people. They hate the point and click. I guess I like WASD better, but like point and click is never a game changer for like, not a game changer, but like a deal breaker. It is for a lot of people. It's kind of shocking. Like controller and WASD, big. Like if a game is not optimized for that, people won't play it.
It's massive. I hear this all the time in my chat. Like, I would try PoE 1 if it had WASD, and GGG is very well aware of this. If GGG ever implemented WASD into PoE 1, I think it would inspire so many people to give it a second chance, especially after how many people have been enjoying PoE 2 with WASD. Like, it's kind of not ruined click to move for people, but for people like you and I who've been playing, ARPGs before PoE 2 existed, it's not that big of a deal to, you press spacebar a bit when you go back to PoE 1, you're like, shit, I'm not dodge rolling and stuff. But yeah, for people who just started playing PoE 2 and nothing else, like it's kind of a big deal for sure.
100%, 100%. I really hope they make good on, and that's another thing. That's why I'm like a little cynical, and that's why my opinion was a little cynical, because I know they're saying they would like, when they talk about making these sweeping changes to PoE 1, they don't ever say, yeah, we're gonna do that, right? They're always like, oh, we would like to, we wish we could, we would like, So like, I'm a little like, I really want that to happen, because that was the initial promise. And I mentioned this in that video. The initial promise was like, oh, graphical overhaul, animation overhaul, PoE 1. Oh gosh, fund us with supporter packs, And then, 4 years of funding with supporter packs. 2023 comes, separate game, dude, separate game. So it's like, I understand why people would be taken aback by the game, especially if they don't like the gameplay. So I really hope they do make good on that initial promise and the subsequent, like, yeah, we really want to do that once, PoE 2's out the door and getting constant league updates. So
totally. Imagine a world where PoE 2 is done, so 1.0 is out. The next PoE league, whatever it is, let's say it's like 4.0, massive banger league, massively successful league content, and then WASD. People are flooding to the game. Like, that is like that's the type of stuff. I'm an optimist, of course, as you know. Like, I love GGG, and I really believe in what they do. But like, we don't know if that's a possibility in the future. They know the power that sort of like that sort of stuff has, that sort of pull, right? And so like, that could very well be a thing that, like, it creates the renaissance for PoE 1, as we may say. We have no idea.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Somebody in the comments of that video, beautiful idea, PoE Resurrected, like the 4.0 update where they do the animation overhaul, they do all that. And yeah, it almost made me think, man, it would be so cool to have the original vision of PoE 2 in PoE 2, meaning like the double campaign meeting in the same end game. Like, I'm picturing PoE 1's acts 1 through 4 in particular in PoE 2 makes me a little giddy. Like, I get a little tingly, because I feel like that's like the best narrative in Rayclast, in the PoE universe. The whole, trudging from the Twilight Strand to Dominus and the Hand of God, slaying him, and then finding out, oh, there's one more guy and he's in the freaking belly of the beast, and downing Malachi. Like, seeing that enhanced in the PoE 2, oh, dude, it gets me. It gets me. It really does. I'm thinking of words to say, but I'm like, I shouldn't say those words.
I can see how it's affecting you. I feel like a lot of people would have those same sensory feelings. Absolutely. If they ever did that, it would be a banger, bro. It would be a fucking banger.
Yeah, it would.
Yes. We talked a lot about content creation, but I don't really get the chance to chalk it up with you about like content. And so I wanted to ask you, just like, generally speaking, what are some of the favorite pieces of content that you've made recently?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I would say that essay, but now I'm kind of, screw it. I'm happy about that essay. I haven't made a video essay in like 3-4 months. It was nice to sit down, write something out, and then like, I was getting back into college, high school mode. I loved writing. I used to write like a ton. So I just kind of structured it kind of like an argumentative essay. I love doing that. So I really liked my essay. Man, let me pull up my freaking channel, dude. Actually, I'm kind of curious what I've released recently.
And maybe I don't want to tell you how to look at it, but maybe let's consider like how it felt to make the content, and not so much like the response or like the comments of it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what then, dude? 100%. Make it my favorite piece of content to make recently. Okay. Yeah, it's not even on my main channel then. Is that fine?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, so I have like a second channel. It's my slop channel.
Okay.
My friends and I, we like play late at night in Discord, and we all sit in our Discord server together, and we'll live stream we'll stream our like games to each other. So like big moments, we'll stream them and everything. So I've posted a few like the highlights where I'm like, I'll just sit here and I'll record, and if something cool happens, I'll post it. And that's been so much fun to make, because we're going through and we're just doing absolutely ridiculous crap. Like my brother went through and he gambled a whole bunch of Omen of the Ancients, and just his reaction was just so funny. And just his optimism that, oh, just one more gamble, dude, one more gamble. Oh, it was so good. And then my friend, he was killing Arbiter. Like we were watching that, and he had an exceptional Regalia drop. I'm like, dude, sell it. Don't ID it. Never ID it. You just make the dip and you go. And he's like, oh, screw it. I'm gonna freaking ID it. He IDs it. He hits like global defenses, spirit, and something like the best rolls on the Regalia from the Arbiter. And I'm like, all right, dude, just suck. And it's like 11 divs on Exile Exchange. And we're all like, I was like, sell it, man. We're all like freaking out. And I'm like, sell it, man. And he's like, you know what? No, I'm gonna Gamba. So he gets everything good to go. He gets like the Corruption Omen, he gets the Valor, he qualities it, and then he also divines it. Because I'm like, before you corrupt it, I guess if you're gonna do this, divine it, man, because you want to get good rolls. So he does that, and then he corrupts it, dude, and he hits the freaking extra socket on the Regalia, and everybody just starts screaming, man. Like, oh, that's fun content to make. I like that. That's like really, really chill and relaxed and just like very organic. And I've never really done anything like that before this league. Like streaming is kind of like that, but I'm usually streaming solo. So just doing it with my friends has been really fun. And they're all like fine. They're like, yeah, you can post our stuff. That's totally good. I've made like a few shorts out of it. So just making really organic, really authentic, really late night chill vibes, hanging with the bros. That's like a type of content I've never done before, and it's so much fun. So thank you for rephrasing your question, because I was totally focused on the other part that I was initially focused on. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem, dude. No, I love that. And yeah, I'm glad that I sort of rephrased that, because I think that as content creators, we get so caught up in like the I guess the end product, and what I mean by that is like how it's received and how it does and how it performs, that it does influence our like what's our favorite piece of content that
100%.
we've ever made.
100%.
And it's really cool to hear that the stuff that you've made recently that is your favorite, it's just like side channel stuff that you've kind of got reconnected with, just like gaming with the homies and like kind of just like easy. Yeah, it's like, it's cool to hear. And sort of as a follow-up, like, do you feel like the channel that you have right now, like the Talk of Tribe main channel, as it sort of progressed over time, through the journey, the lore videos and the video essays and stuff, into more of the new stuff, maybe it kind of made you lose like touch with this new side of like content creation that you want, or that you're in love with again, like that whole journey?
Ooh, great question. You know what? No, because so when I was initially like making content, I wasn't like, I had stopped playing Dota, right? I wasn't really social with my friends in gaming, right? We didn't like, before I played Path of Exile, I played like a lot of Dota 2 with my friends and everything. Oh, whew, wow. I can't believe I'm not like a angrier person. Those were some days, bro. Those are some days. I was almost immortal in Dota. It was crazy crap, man. Those pubs, dude. Whoa. So after that, I started playing Path of Exile, and I really didn't like, I guess, hang with the homies playing games. The most game would be like D&D, and then I had my kid, and my kids, and I would like, especially the young kids, because none of my other friends, like nobody my age has kids, right? Nobody that we know. Like we have friends now that have kids, but we made them because our kids, interacted at the part, right? But none of my homies, we weren't gaming together, dude. So like going back to the whole like reconnection with each other through PoE 2, I had just never like experimented with this type of content before. And I think in 0-1, we did a lot of this. 0-2, I think I was giga focused on job. Like I can turn this into a job, focus on the content that like performs best, focus on the content that people really like to see, as long as you're like enjoying it, but you also want to make sure it performs well. So I would do like the podcasts, I would do the essays, I would do the news videos, all that stuff, right? I wouldn't do any of this. I think what really clicked was the whole, don't treat it like a job. Treat it like literally just have fun again. Just have fun. Stop being so anal about all this stuff and stressing about it all the time. And that's literally when I started like doing these videos, like just pressing, hey guys, can I like record? Let's just record. If something cool happens, I can edit it together and it will like live on in perpetuity. We can revisit it in like a year's time. I'll laugh about it. And I haven't cared about the numbers at all. Like all my videos, I know I was like talking about the reception to that one video and how that was like, oh dang it. But like all my videos, I told my wife, she was looking at like my sub numbers. She's like, oh, your sub numbers are still going up. And I'm like, I honestly, I am now like much more detached. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to make it from a full. If it goes up, it goes up. Awesome. Cool. If I got a lot of views on a video, cool. I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to send it to the homies. I'm going to be like, yeah, guys, 1 to 10, let's go in our creator chat. But I'm not like going to let my happiness hinge on it or like think that my future hinges on videos performing well. Because I already have a freaking job where I already have to think about numbers going well to support my family. Don't do it with two different things. Like have an outlet, have a thing that you can truly just sit and enjoy. And I think it all of the just this huge mindset change, man. So much is mental, so much more than I ever thought. I know this is a lot, with the video game and content and everything, but so much of it is mental. And just making that shift the past month, like the past 3 weeks, has been truly just life-changing, very, very different. Plus my daughter has slept 2 nights straight in a row and she hasn't woken up yet, dude. That's going to be 3 nights. It's going to be even more life-changing. So yeah, long-winded answer, but yeah, dude, I'm really glad about the spot that I'm currently at. It's cool.
That's excellent. Yeah. It seems like you've reconnected with a very important word called fun. And sometimes we lose sight of it. Like sometimes
you do.
We get really caught up in things. And I think especially because, you have a pretty successful YouTube channel and people kind of, look to your channel for, the new stuff and the commentary. And so you might feel like you have this responsibility to provide that. But sometimes when you're, these, as you said, these things it's not your job. You don't really actually have this responsibility. Right. It's just making videos about video games. It's supposed to be fun, right? Yeah. And so it's super sick to hear that you've like reconnected with the fun aspect of gaming for sure.
100%. Yeah. And if it was my job, it would be a little different, but it's not. So we chilling. We're just gonna have fun doing random crap, making news videos, doing podcast, whatever, whatever I feel like. Write an essay, I'll post an essay. Highlight of my, me dying to Uber Arbiter twice, let's do that too. Whatever. It's fun. I'm glad I'm having a good time, dude.
Yeah, me too, man. And I'm excited that you're gonna like hop into Timmy's League and play some hardcore, obviously for fun next weekend. Looking forward to that, seeing how that pans out. As a sort of side note, so you have the second channel. I'll leave a link to the description for that side channel if anybody else wants to check out Try's stuff he's got going on there. I know you talked about doing some video game content that wasn't even about like PoE 2. Like, do you ever plan on like, the fabled Expedition 33 video that I've been waiting for on the main channel for how long, guys? Like, what are the plans for future other game content? The channel, man.
Bro, I've got this. I have the draft, but here it is. It's the like one. Is this going to kill my analytics? That's what I thought. That's why I didn't release it, back then. Make it and release it. And then 2, which I think is now. I don't think that thing matters anymore. I just haven't like thought about it, and I haven't played Claire. I've talked a lot about it because my brother started to play through like 2.5 months ago, 2 months ago, and him experiencing it is it's beautiful. Man, that game is long standing. You gotta play it, Blaze. You gotta play it.
I know.
Now the thing is, do I feel like because I think this is very important, and I ask this with all my videos that I make still, right? Do I feel like I'm gonna have something that is worth listening to, right? Because every time I post a video, I'm like, someone out there, like a good chunk of people out there are gonna enjoy this. Is this gonna be worthwhile for others to watch? And that's the thing I'm thinking about with that. Because like the whole pitch of the video, honestly, is like, I've never played a JRPG before. I haven't played a solo game, and like I played Hades. I guess I played Hades, but that is like Spyro when I was 6. I don't play solo games. I don't play story games. What What? And I just was hooked. So that's like kind of the hook, which I think is kind of compelling, but it's like it would be something so different. And I would really, really want to make it good. It's that lore video situation where like I made this, I want to freaking perfect it, you know, because it would be the first of its kind. And yeah, I think the fear way back then was the analytics thing, but now I just gotta push myself to do it. You know, I was gonna do like Hollow Knight and Baldur's Gate 3, bro, but then I freaking got sucked back into PoE 2. We'll see if I crash out in Timmy's hardcore league, and then I'm like, you know what, screw PoE 2. It's Hollow Knight time. Let's do it. So
Have you played Hollow Knight before, or is that going to be like a first time
no,
playthrough?
no, I have it on my desktop. I bought it. My wife, what was it? Stream on Tuesday. She's like, hey, try. What's this $15 charge from Steam in December? December, what is it, 17th? Yeah, that's Hollow Knight. Yep, that's 4 days after league start. That's Hollow Knight. Yep.
Yeah. That purchase was made out of frustration and anger and about PoE 2 for sure.
It was. Yep, it was.
Yeah.
So one day.
Right on, man. Yeah, well, I look forward to that whenever that comes out. Just as sort of like a final, closing question. I find myself doing this now, and I'm sure you've been privy to this for quite a while, where like I structure my other game time around PoE, and it's kind of crazy to say that. Like, I want to play a lot of other games. I want to play Expedition 33. I've had every single person in the entire world line up and tell me to play this game. But I'm still having so much fun playing PoE 2 that I find it difficult to say, well, I'm already having so much fun playing this game. Why would I go and play this other game that I don't know if I'm going to like or not? Even though I know I'm going to like it. But yeah, do you have any other games that are under your radar besides Hollow Knight, Hades 2 that you'd really want to play, but you feel like you don't have enough time to do?
Okay, I didn't beat Hades 2. I beat the underworld of Hades 2. Didn't beat the surface, so I didn't technically beat it. So Hades 2, Hollow Knight, Baldur's Gate 3 is another that has been recommended to death. I'm a big D&D fan. I dungeon mastered for like 15 plus years. You know, I've got like the D&D 5e stuff behind me, Dagger Heart, all that stuff. Before I did Path of Exile stuff, I wrote D&D articles because I world builded. So Baldur's Gate 3 is a big one. The hype around Divinity now is kind of making me like, oh, well, why play Baldur's Gate 3? Why don't I just play Divinity Original Sin? Because my brother has also highly recommended Divinity's Original Sin 1 and 2. What else? What other games do I don't think any hop out besides BG3 Hollow Knight because those are the ones that have been massively recommended. Everybody always tells me to try Grim Dawn. That's an ARPG, but it's like a solo ARPG that is beloved. I've never really I played that for a little bit, but I didn't like dive into it. It was while I was doing a little bit of like a exploration. Dude, Diablo 2 Resurrected made me bounce. Freaking rage quit. That's one that I should finish. I've never finished Diablo 2.
Yeah.
You know? Because I bricked myself because I'm an idiot, you know? It
It was
punishes you.
it was the classic mistake, bro.
Dude, I can't believe I did this.
But don't do that first. I think play Baldur's Gate 3 first. I haven't played it, but knowing your like passion for D&D, it actually is astonishing that you've never played that game. And I know that you haven't played a lot of games in your life, and so when you choose to play a new game, it's kind of a big deal, honestly, because the repertoire is small, right? So yeah.
Yes, it's like less than 30, man. Claire Obscure, it got me. I was like playing every night, wanted to see what happened next. That it was a huge hook. Baldur's Gate 3, it's more so a lot of people have kind of like they hype it up and I believe it's good. They also tell me, you know, you're going to want to finish it, you're going to want to play it, but it's like a 90-hour game. It's like it's a long game and you're going to be like, "Oh, you want to see what happens next?" Claire Obscure, you know, I knew it was like a 20-hour game, which is like, I know it's still a lot, but it's still a lot more bite-sized than BG3. Because I know me. If I get hooked into a game, I'm going to be like, oh, I want to play this game. I'm going to stay up really late. I gotta play. And that'll happen with BG3, I'm sure. So,
dude, you could even do a campaign with your brother, I don't know, your dad, if he'd be into that, your wife as well. Like, imagine you guys have like a full campaign. You do it once a week. Take your time, play through it all. Like, dude, that could be a banger, 100%.
That's what they want. They want to play through. So they have one ongoing, my dad and my brother, that I was supposed to be a part of, and then I had another kid. It's like, what the heck, man? Why are you having another kid? So, yeah, one day I have it once again. I have it. I mean, honestly, I could get off stream right now and I could play BG3, but it's not going to happen. I'm probably going to play some PoE too. It's so nice that I have like friends playing the game. I think that's a huge thing. I think there's no like Dota 2. I played that for such a long time. It was because I had friends playing it, right? It's such a big draw when you have your pals playing a game, like your childhood friends, especially if that's like the one way you really connect with them. Like if they move away, like one of my friends, he's moved across the country. I see him once a year, but I can talk to him anytime and play this game that we both really enjoy together, and that's great. So it's one of the big draws to it for sure right now for me with PoE 2.
Oh yeah. That extends the enjoyment of any game you're playing. If you have like a good core group of people that you're playing with, and you guys can just like yap about your achievements, your progress, your funny moments, your death clips sometimes, God forbid. But yeah, dude, it's like that is peak gaming. You are in peak gaming right now, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sacrificing sleep, but that's okay. It's worthwhile.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about before we sort of wrap things up? We're at like 2 hours. It kind of flew by, actually. I know.
Oh my gosh,
you being an interviewer,
2 hours.
I know you've been great. You haven't asked me any questions. I know being the interviewee versus the interviewer. So now's the time if you want to ask a question before we wrap up. Floor is yours.
Ooh, okay. All right. You asked me what my favorite interview was. Now you're at episode 35 with this one. All right, so you got a list of people. Once again, you don't have to name one or two like I did. Do you have a couple, or do you have one that stands out as your favorite interview so far with the Passive Tree podcast?
Oh, that's a great question, man. There's been so many good ones. There's two that come to mind. I will say that Darth Microtransactions interview for me was just such a good one. I walked away from that one feeling like, holy shit, like we just had my favorite conversation I probably had on the podcast. And that was all, partially thanks to you for helping us connect to each other. But I don't know, something about that interview, like I did a bunch of research with him. And so I think I was really well prepared for that interview. I'm also like, I hang out in his stream quite a bit as well. So I feel like getting to know him via his stream really helped like educate me based on like his questions and stuff like that. But also him, like he was so just open he was an open book, like more open than I think anyone has ever been on the podcast. I think this one you might take the cake actually for being so open, but it made for such a good episode, man. Like he was just down to talk about whatever. And for somebody who I've never spoken with before in my life, it was just like magical. It was very magical.
100%. Now you guys have a shared playlist, right? Too?
Yes, dude. Yeah. I mean, that was the thing. So I talked about the streaming stuff, but like that's what kind of drew me into him initially was all of his music that he listened to, a lot of video game music. And so yeah, I sent him my playlist and now we're like collaborating a little bit on one. So it's sick to bond over video game music because I know as yourself, it's a big passion of mine for sure.
100%. Okay, here's a follow-up, unless you had another that you wanted to say. I know you said two.
Oh, I was going to say our first podcast as well, because I feel like that was, as I said.
No, don't glaze me.
No, dude, it goes back to full circle because that was like, that was like a monumental moment in like my content journey. So yeah, like that one was like really, really cool as well.
I'm so glad you like have taken everything and just ran with it, dude. You've been absolutely killing it between like the pods and the essays, and now you said you're experimenting with like the shorter form videos too. It's exactly what I did, man. And you're taking the momentum and running with it, which is exactly what you got to do. You're killing it. Like that short form, like right now, I joked earlier, like right now is not the time for like content and views. Like that video was doing really well. The implicit one, that's doing really well. Like if you look at everyone's like content across the PoE sphere, because like I have an account where I follow every single PoE person. Like the views on that are great. The engagement's great. Like people are talking in the comments and debating it. And I thought that was like a healthy debate comment section. I read through it. I know you said like, oh, it's popping off, right? But like people were like, I thought being pretty civil. Like they're heated, like they have their views, but they were being pretty civil. At least when I checked, it had like 180 comments or something like that. So They were going
Yeah,
hard.
that was a video that I didn't expect to do well as well. And I think like doing well is relative, obviously, depending on who you are and what you consider like a,
Yeah.
a successful video. But I didn't realize that like, well, I think this helped reinforce the fact that PoE community love to debate over basically anything. So like, as long as you structure the conversation well, like people are bound to come in there and just leave whatever opinion they have, and it's cool to see.
100%. Okay, I've also noticed one more question for you,
Sure.
interviewer. I've
Yes.
also noticed a few times when I popped onto your stream and DM stream. I think when you were talking to DM, like, oh, I just added this song, whatever. I keep hearing the Smash soundtrack on there, Super Smash Bros. So now I'm curious, dude. What's your preferred character in Smash? Do you have one?
Which game?
Okay, we're gonna go. Okay, you're gonna hate me for this. I've never played Melee. So Brawl or Ultimate, which is the current. Brawl was the Wii one. That's the one I played when I was a
Okay.
kid. That was my introduction.
Yeah.
And then Ultimate is like what I currently play. Unless you've not played those, then we can go back to Melee.
Okay, so I'll start with N64. So N64, I played Fox. Fox was my favorite, just super fast. I loved his like shield thing that you could do. You could reflect projectiles and stuff like that. Really cool character to play. In Melee, I know you've never played it before. I don't know. I had a lot of favorites. I think like all the characters basically translate into each other, basically. So I think Marth was one of my favorite characters in Melee. Marth is really cool.
Okay.
Marth or Roy. And they're from
Okay.
Fire Emblem. In Brawl, which is the Wii version, dude, I played Snake in that game, and my brother hated me for that.
Screw you, dude.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Dude, I started playing Snake, and I was the biggest piece of shit. And me and my brother, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here, but we grew up like sharing a room and playing video games together, and that happened for our whole childhood. So we had like if you played Pokemon, like Ash and Gary rivalry, like we were born rivals in video games. And so we would counter each other in every sense of the word, basically picking the most like obscene counters. And so I played Snake to counter. I feel like he played Ganondorf, and I just shit on him all the time. It was great.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. Snake and that, dude. I mained Jigglypuff. Snake
Okay.
was like, big.
So many grenades. It was like
Now I'm
playing
thinking-
Tactician in Heart and PoE.
Dude. Grenades, and I would like somehow not realize when the mine was being placed down, and I'd walk right on the freaking mine, man. Oh my gosh. And I just realized I thought Melee was N64 for some reason. I have played Melee. I was on the GameCube. What am I thinking, dude?
Yeah.
My brother was a Roy enjoyer. I played Pichu in Melee.
Okay. Yeah. Pichu
Yep.
was sick.
Yeah,
Pichu was very sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pichu's sick. Yeah. Have you played Ultimate? Because that's the one we've been playing a lot of, like since it came out. Like we've hosted tournaments at my house for Ultimate.
Oh shit. I don't play it very much anymore. When it came out, because it's pretty old now, right? Like we're overdue for a new Smash Bros. Like soon, I feel like. I just played randoms,
$90
dude. Like,
Smash.
Yeah, $90. There's so many characters now, dude. I can't even keep track of them all. So every time I play, which is very infrequently, I have a lot more time spent in like Melee and N64 and Brawl. But yeah, I just like chuck randoms on and try out the 100 different heroes that you got now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay,
I know
well,
it's a
thank you
boring
for answering
answer.
that. No, it's okay. Thanks for answering. I was curious because I swear every time I pop in stream, it would be the Pokemon Stadium music from Smash, and I was like, wow, wonder what he played in Smash. Okay, cool. Thanks, man.
Yes, dude. All right. Well, thank you so much, Try. It's been an absolute pleasure, man. I know everybody knows who you are, but just shout yourself out as we do at the end of the podcast for everybody.
100%. I am Talkative Try. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Talkative Try. I also have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Talkative Try, and an extra channel now where I post slot fun content with no effort from me, but a lot of fun between my friends and I called Talkative Try Extras. Got a Discord, got a Twitter, all that stuff. Going to be doing podcasts leading up to 0.5 and beyond, some essays, some more collabs, I'm sure, with Blaze in the future. Timmy's League. I'm gonna
Let's go.
probably not get farther than you, but I'm gonna try to beat the campaign. That's my goal. It's gonna be a blast. Thank you guys for inviting me. Really appreciate it. And Blaze, thanks for having me on the pod. I'm so happy that it has all worked out. And I have in business, I've always been told, you gotta cut your competitors' throats. You want to stamp them out. You don't want them to. But I'm so glad your freaking podcast has been popping off. You're talking to all these big creators. You're growing. It's all going so well. I just, rising tide lift all boats. I'm so happy it's going well for you, man. And anything I can do to support you, your growth, your channel, I'm always here. So thanks, bro.
Brother, dude, thank you so much, man. Guys, as always, we will be leaving a link to all of Try's channels, especially his new one, in the link in the description. Also, it came to my attention today that Try has a channel point redemption for more character attempts, I believe, in Timmy's League and Hardcore. I think that's what someone told me. I didn't ask you if that is that a thing?
Oh, I think it is. I think I set that up, dude. Yeah, because I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna do one character, but I think I have a channel point redemption for three hardcore. My previous farthest record is Doriani in hardcore, by the way. So that's where I'm trying to beat that. Yeah, it was on a Sork too. In point one.
So I'm sure that there's anybody who's listening, go to Try's channel when he's live, donate those channel points. Let's get him a few extra lives on hardcore. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you're listening on YouTube or Twitch Live, I appreciate you. If you're watching the VOD, I appreciate that as well. And we will see you in the next one. Peace. All right, everybody. That wraps it up for this episode of the Passive Tree Podcast. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe for more PoE2 content. I have a bunch more episodes of the podcast lined up with some really great guests, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you're interested in supporting the podcast and the channel, consider supporting through Patreon. There's a link in the video description. A special shout out to Kevin F. for supporting this channel. I appreciate you. Thank you. And until next time, happy blasting, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.